That was my cue.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was I didn't expect it so soon. Okay, so let me just unmute my audio here. Here we go. All right. All good to go. Awesome. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is sandsh8rk, and today I'll be running Super Meat Boy Forever Random Seed any percent at this year's Mid-Spring Speed Fling. I don't have any couch commentators, but I do have someone on the couch, or rather the bed. That's my poodle Cookie. She's there for moral support, so be sure to give her a wave hello in chat. But anyway, that's enough rambling there. So a bit about the game. Super Meat Boy Forever came out at the end of 2020, 10 years after the original hit indie game Super Meat Boy, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. So quite a bit is different in this game from the original. So this game is an auto-runner platformer. So you no longer control the running, but you now can punch, use different abilities to complete bosses, and the levels are randomly generated as a kid. Okay, there she goes. I better leave her to it before she starts barking the house down. Okay, anyway. So you can use different abilities to go through the levels, and as I said, it's randomly generated. So each level pulls from a pool of around 200 chunks. You'll get like 5 to 7 of them. So I'll be doing this partially blind. I'm familiar with most of the chunks, but I got no idea what order they're coming in. So just dive straight into it. So as you can see right here, here is my save file right here that I'm going to delete. And this save you see right here, I've never seen this before. So this is the first time bringing it up. It's completely randomized. So I'm going to give a countdown from 5, and that when I say go, we'll start the timer. So let's go. 5, 4. Actually, 1 second. I think it says New Game Plus when it shouldn't. Ooh. No, it should be okay. Alright, so that's still a random seed there. Just making sure, because it said New Game Plus down there, but we'll give it a go. Alright, ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. So, diving straight into the first world here, this is Chipper Grow, which looks very similar to the forest. So, the storyline of this game is a bit different. So, in the first game, you had to rescue your girlfriend Bandage Girl, but now you can actually play as your girlfriend Bandage Girl, and you need to capture your daughter Nugget from the evil Dr. Fetus. The cutscenes of this game are actually really, really cool, but I won't be playing them, obviously, for the sake of going fast. So, first thing you'll notice here is that Meat Boy can now punch, and I will be exploiting this mechanic throughout most of the speed run, because punching makes you go a little bit faster. So, as you can see here, I'm punching in the air instantly, and then diving down to the ground. This is the most optimal way to move throughout the game. As you can see, so, for any percent purposes, controller, hello? There you go. For any percent purposes, we only need to complete 4 out of the 6 levels in the light world in each chapter to get to unlock the boss and go to the next stage. So I'll be doing the 4 most optimal, and the routes are usually pretty consistent. But in World 3, I'll be changing my routing depending on what levels are faster. Because it is random seed, the times can vary incredibly wildly. So, and that could be a good thing and a bad thing, especially in random seed. It is a little bit of luck depending on how fast you can go, depending on what chunks you get. So a bit random, but we also do have a set seed category, which allows you to play something a bit more consistent. For me personally, random seed is something I just like picking up and going. So anyway, it looks pretty familiar from the forest here. These enemies here, you can punch to kind of get them out of your way. It's very satisfying. Although we're going to try and avoid punching enemies as much as we can, because this introduces a few lag frames, and even though the timer in the top left will stop going, the speedrun timer won't. So you want to try and avoid it as much as possible. So that's what I'm trying to do right here. Just duck under here. And that'll also be used a bit later in the speedrun as well. We're trying to avoid hitting things just so we can save some lag frames. It's over here, unfortunately. Just down those. Jumping over that one. So these collapsing walls again. A lot of mechanics are very similar from the first Meat Boy, but it's just cool to see them kind of use it in a different way, I guess. So there's that one over here. Now, 1-4 is one of the more complex ones of Chipper Grove. So introduces these saws. Introduces these saws over here that they go a bit faster than you do. So you need to be pretty quick and optimize your movement so you can kind of stay ahead of him. Otherwise, it'll catch up to you and kill you. Much like the first Super Meat Boy, anything that looks like can kill you will kill you. But the good thing about this Meat Boy is that when you die, you don't need to start all the way at the beginning of the level. Basically, when you reach a new chunk, that's a checkpoint. So you just spawn, as you can see, you just spawn there. So a bit of a saving grace, bit less frustration, but it still doesn't mean that these chunks are easy. Some of these chunks can be very difficult, especially in the later worlds. So I'm just kind of waiting and going in the air to give it a quick punch. Just trying to be very quick here to jump over these saws. Oh, alright. Okay. Got a bit confused there, so it's a bit of a shame, but that's okay. Duck under these saws here. It'll activate this one, but you don't want to go too quickly. Because if you do that, you can actually start to cycle up. Anyway, that is the first 4 done. Now we're going on to Big Slugger, which is the big brother of Little Slugger. And there's a certain cycle you can do to kind of defeat this boss in like less than 20 seconds. There we go. Awesome. So there is Big Slugger done and dusted. So very consistent cycle there. No RNG, but some of these other bosses have a bit more RNG. I'll explain a bit later. But now we're into the clinic. And the clinic here, again, looking very similar to the hospital. And the first mechanic you'll see here is that introduces these, I guess, covered areas of needles and these needle waterfalls. If you stay in them too long, if that red ring around you goes fully red, you'll die. So you want to spend as little time in them as possible. Otherwise, Meat Boy will explode. Over here, I'm getting some height to make sure I stay above the needles of death. Just doing this to get a bit more height and just trying to time everything just right. Over here, I'm going to be trying to touch these needle things just in time so I can collapse the walls and not spend too much time actually in the needles. So just trying to concentrate a little bit here, because especially some of these ones need to be careful. So that was a pretty good way to start. So we'll be exiting out to the world map, then going to 2-3. And this introduces these things called beatuses. Beatuses basically suck you into them, and you have to punch 3 times to kind of get out of them. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm going to avoid punching that bug to save some lag frames. Watch out for fans as well. If you jump directly into their blades, they can hurt you. So we'll kind of... one thing about the mechanics as well is that they basically stack. Oh no! That's a quick one as well. It's a skip. What happened to my controller? Oh, my controller disconnected for a second. That's a bit worrying. Anyway. It's a shame there. I had a good time on that one too. But you have to punch out of them 3 times to get out. And as I said before, the mechanics can stack. So what I was saying by that is that when you see a mechanic in one level, it's not like you'll ever see it again. Any future levels can have that mechanic. So you need to remember basically how every single little thing in this game works. So glass panes, different power-up crystals, these needle waterfalls. It's a lot to remember. So you just got to kind of do everything on the fly. So just over here, jumping up here, get sucked in by the beatus. Backtracking onto this wall, punching this fly over here. Again, so these glass things as well, they also introduce a few lag frames, so I actually want to try and avoid that as much as possible, so I'm going to try it. That's a good skip, actually. Not exactly the fastest one, but that's okay. So I'll be avoiding hitting glass. So this one over here introduces these ghosts. And this introduces a cool mechanic that we found called ghost clipping, where basically if you punch a ghost with one button, then keep holding that button, and then punch it with another. Oh, well, maybe I should have done the other way. You can basically clip through it, and these ghosts introduce some lag frames as well, so it's actually a really good idea to try and clip through them as much as I can. That one's a bit dangerous too, but there's a few instances where it's not really practical to do ghost clips, but whenever you can, when they're close together, it's usually a good idea. So over here, again, not a good idea on this one. So I'm just going to clip outside, but I'm going to go underneath this ghost here to save some time. Awesome. Okay, so that is the clinic done. Now we're going to go to the next boss, which is called the Manipulator. It is the brain that's controlling shards of glass. Now, you need to basically jump through them in a certain order, depending on what height, but it's a cool skip you can do. So I'm going to punch it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 8 times, and get a boost off that last punch, so it skips one of the cycles there, which saves some time. So it's important you get that boost there, otherwise the third sheet will appear and then you're basically stuffed. But the timing this well. There we go. That is the clinic done. Now we're at the Tetrisville, or as the Super Meat Boy community, well, Forever community likes to call it, it's called Resetnessville, because there are a lot of chunks. Oh. Controller, hello? Controller. Okay, my controller's cutting out a few times there. I don't know what exactly it's doing. Controller, hello. Okay. It's just... One second, let me plug into the port. This is actually pretty interesting. Hello, controller. Okay. Sorry about that. Hopefully I won't do that for the rest of the run. So anyway, this thing is called... What? Controller! No, why are you bugging out on me? I might need to go get another one if it keeps cutting out on me, because obviously, I'll try it a bit longer, but this controller's actually cutting out on me. I don't know what's happened. But anyway, speaking of Tetanusville, there are a lot of chunks of this level that vary from incredibly short to incredibly long. So it's important, can really stuff up your run, and that's why we kind of do some on-the-fly routing changes. Oh man, I could have saved so much time on this one as well if it was an actual speed run. But unfortunately, the random disconnection of the controller has cursed me a little bit, but... okay. I hate to do this, but we might need to put the run on pause for a little bit, because I just need to grab another controller. The inputs are dropping out, so... really sorry. I'm gonna have to just put it on pause for a moment, because I just need to get another controller. Sorry guys, I'll be back in one moment.
Can you quickly throw it to intermissions while you get your controller thing situated?
Temptation says to stray, but I won't let you.
And we'll be back in just a moment after we deal with that technical difficulty. Midwest Speed Fest is a Minnesota-based organization that has been hosting speedrun marathons since 2015. In the summer and winter, we partner with 2DCon and VGMCon, respectively, to help raise money for their chosen charities and bring more entertainment to their conventions. Additionally, we host 1 to 2 online marathons each year, also in support of charity. So far, we raised over $35,000 for various charities, and we hope to see that number continue to grow exponentially with your support.
Can you feel me coming?
Don't forget to get your donations in. There's still some great incentives to be met here later today. We have Watch the Cutscene incentives for Mort the Chicken and Pepsi Man. 2 runs that you absolutely need those cutscenes for. Trust me. That is some grade A content that you will not find anywhere else for the moment. There's also still quite a ways to go on our Celeste Classic 200% run by SexRax bonus. We're at $386 out of $1,200. And don't forget, we have Bid Wars coming up. The Uno Game Boy Color has a theme choice and game language choice, Bid War, and Roller Coaster Tycoon has a track color choice. Not a lot of additions into that, so you have plenty of time, plenty of chance to pick whatever you want.
Like a heart beating time. Keep on moving, hunting till
Consider subscribing to Midwest Speed Fest or Cheering Bitch. All Twitch revenue received during this event will be going towards Sweet Relief. Of course, if you have Amazon Prime, you can subscribe for free. Simply go to your settings and connections tabs, connect to your Twitch account to your Amazon account to get Prime Gaming. You'll have 1 free sub every month. And with that, I've been told we're back and ready to go, so let's throw it back to Sandshark with more Super Meat Boy Forever.
keep on moving, hunting till you're mine.
Transitioning in 3, 2, 1.
Alright, really sorry about that, everyone. I make sure that was all fixed up. Obviously, I can't do the speed run if my controller keeps cutting out, so it should be good now. So if there's a resumption on the timer, I'll count this down again from 5. So, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Quick death there, it's fine. So, going back into Tetanusville here, this looks very similar to the factory, the salt factory in the first Super Meat Boy. But anyway, so what we're going to do here is we're going to exit out. I'm going to quickly see what time this level is by just kind of going in and then going back out. That's 1:12. I think I can do that. Usually we want to kind of only do this level if the par time we have in the top left-hand corner is below 1:16. So it's 1:12 now, so that's pretty reasonable. So These introduces these key blocks here, which again, look pretty familiar from the first game. Basically, you bring the key to it, or instead of getting the key and then it unlocks it, you gotta bring the key to it. So I'm gonna dive down here, grab this one really quickly as well. And what I'm gonna do is, okay, don't need a conveyor belt for that one. Okay. Okay, let me try that one more time. There we go. See, this game can confuse you easily. You think you can go one way, but you don't. So you have to it can just kind of trick you out, which is pretty good. I kind of consider this a bit of a puzzle platform, to be completely honest. You kind of got to chip away at it thinking, what do I got to do next? And especially in some of these faster levels, or future levels. Oop, that wasn't intended. In some of these future levels, it can, well, in the later worlds, rather, it can get quite confusing. So, over here, I'm just kind of jumping around, avoiding these things. These things are called roly-polies. And basically, if you punch them, they'll turn into balls, and they can actually break wood blocks, which you'll see a little bit later in the runs over here. Obviously, they become harmless after you do... Oh, no, that's not how I'm supposed to do the level. Again, it can trip you out, like it is doing with me right now. Anyway. So you have to go down here, activate this wall here, and then jump off it. And duck underneath it. You gotta be very careful, because at the end of some chunks, it can kind of stuff you over. Anyway, we're gonna be doing the 3-4 now. Let's see if that's any quicker. I should have checked the par time on that one. 1:35, no. So since that's too long, we're gonna go do 3-5 instead. And this is 1 minute and 8. That's actually a pretty long time for this chunk here. Usually, you should get between 40 to 55 seconds, but I've been unlucky in that one. So it introduces these little hooks here. And these little hooks, obviously, they can take you up. You have to press A to kind of release yourself off them. So there's a few skips you can do with these ones, but it's just all about kind of reflexes and being quick. So as soon as you know you're at the top of a hook, you can jump off of it. So no point delaying. Diving down here, ducking underneath the saws. Oh, so you have to actually... I want to try and avoid that fly, but you kind of have to punch it, but... Trying to be careful here, because if you wait too long, you'll get... the spikes will hit you. Oh, no! Didn't notice that one down there. It's okay. Again, you want to... it makes you think that you want to be... I guess, do things as fast as possible, but especially here, chunks, some sections here just can absolutely stuff you over, so I'm just trying to tread a bit carefully. That wasn't a bad 3-5 at all. Saved quite a bit of time. Now we're up to 3-6. This introduces these lasers that they're always on a set cycle, but because you can't control how fast you run, you're always auto-running, it can be a bit frustrating at times, so just trying to dash through all of them. There are a few cycles that you can skip, but again, just trying to concentrate here. Trying to skip as many cycles as I can on the fly. Ah! That's not how that works. I'm trying to skip a cycle here by going like this. Okay, that didn't work. Let's try one more time. Ah! Just missed that one. I'm trying to be fancy. I might just... Okay, so you're supposed to go like that. There's a little thing you can do there to kind of skip a few of the cycles, but I'll just wait here and do it the right way. Gotta be very... So I'm just gonna dive straight down and miss those ones there, which is cool. So I'm using that actual roly-poly there to break through that wood block, so you want to try and do that as many times as possible. Oh, I think I'm doing this the wrong way. Alright, I'm gonna try this one more time. There's a skip you can do here. You can actually skip over here, which is pretty cool. So it actually skips a bit of the level. Alright, now we're up to the next boss, which is the Lab Guardian, who guards the lab. Very self-explanatory. But Lab Guardian here, again, is one of the bosses where we've figured out a certain set cycle we can do. Set method, rather, with no RNG, that you can kill the boss in 2 cycles instead of 3. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Jump. So punch these roly-polies out of these tubes. Okay. Okay, my button ain't working, so I'm gonna have to try this one more time. There we go. So I had to do a bit of a backup thing there, but I have to punch the roly-polies out of the tubes to destroy those modules. And when you do that, the shield deactivates, and you get a punch of 10 times the first cycle, and then just the remaining times in the second cycle to destroy them. That skips the third cycle. Now we're on to another world called the Lab here, and the Lab introduces a lot of very annoying mechanics. First one being these orbs where you need to punch them, and then they form 4 little orbs around you. Then you punch to release a super punch that destroy blocks and enemies. But if you wait too long, they'll destroy you, and if you don't punch them, they'll also destroy you. So as you can see, they're very annoying, and they follow you in this very weird arc that you need to be careful about. So that's what I'm trying to do, just be very careful. One pretty good cycle so far. So you either want to avoid them or punch them as quickly as possible. So what I'm going to be doing here is actually... And see, if you do that, then you can just run into lasers, which is very annoying. So I'm trying to find a good balance here. So up to this next section here. Again, we see the return of the fans, which are annoying. We're going to grab this key block. There we go. So, in this one over here, what we're going to do is we're not going to do them in 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to go and do 3, 4, and 6, and it always sticks to that. So over here, it introduces these little blocks here, where once you go through them once, they will generate into something you can jump on. So, there are a few cycles that we can skip here doing this, but for the most part, it's pretty self-explanatory. You just don't want to activate them too early. Or too late, depending on the situation. So over here, forming those two to kind of jump over. Okay, so I gotta be very careful there. I'm gonna jump here. I'm jumping way out of here. I haven't actually seen that junk in a while. Introduces this TNT as well. Pretty self-explanatory. If you wait too long, it'll blow up when it gets to 0. And you don't want to be near it because it will blow you up. So we want to try and get away from it. We don't want to be in the explosion radius. So the next level, probably a bit of time. But for now, yeah, it's just combining all these mechanics. I'm trying to be very, very careful. So if I'm quiet for a little bit, I'm just trying to concentrate. So you can actually use that fist there to try and break these wood blocks to get through chunks quicker, but it can be very hard to time it. So sometimes it's just good to take the safe route. Alright. Excuse me. Oh, supposed to do 4-4 there. Okay. So heading on to this level now, introduces these little special power-up crystals. So the yellow one, when you punch it, it turns your next jump into a backwards, I guess, jump. And then it also turns... One second, my dog. Okay, thank you. Thanks about that. And then this purple one here, also, it makes you do a mega jump. So... Alright, gotta make sure I don't miss that one. So you use those kind of in combination with each other to get to certain areas of the level that you wouldn't be able to otherwise. So I'm gonna go like that. Please excuse my dog. She's being a dog. Okay. I'm using this one now to go through that wood block, and I'm gonna go here. And then we're gonna use this reverse block here to get on this ledge and get a bit of extra height. Over here, I'm gonna wait and then do this so I'm out of the way of the blast radius. Punch this one. Oh, so I was supposed to use that reverse crystal there to kind of warp around, but you got to be careful with your movement because it can stuff you over a little bit. There you go. And then get up this hook, and then dive, and then go like this. Too easy. Okay, now we're going up to 4-6. And just to our awesome host, do we have any donations at all while I get into 4-6?
Not presently, but there's still plenty of time and some awesome incentives to donate to. Don't forget our cutscene incentives for Mort the Chicken and Pepsi Man.
Now, I must add, I love Mort the Chicken. When I first saw it at SGDQ 2019, it was 3 a.m. I was just laughing my backside off. And it's one of my favorite speedrun memories. So those cutscenes are absolutely hilarious. If you have not seen them, donate towards that incentive. It is a fever dream. Anyway, so going back into the run here, we have this new mechanic here in 4.6. It introduces these little kind of teleport orbs where if you punch them, it kind of forms a silhouette, and you then are able to press jump again to teleport to wherever the blue silhouette is. So over here, I'm going to use that to my advantage to get this one. I don't know how I need to get this. I might get this just in case. I'm supposed to get that and then jump through that little orb there. So that's what I'm going to be doing here. Backtracking. Punching here. Okay. So again, as I see, everything just stacks. So especially heading later into the world, there's a lot more to remember. So these orbs, these crystals, these saws, these enemies combined to make something can be a very frustrating experience. But we are at the end now of the lab. So we're going to exit out. We've unlocked the boss, and it's not just one Dr. Fetus, it is many Dr. Fetuses. So there's a certain cycle you can do. This one's a bit slower, but a bit safer to defeat him relatively quickly. Alright, I die. I missed that one entirely, so I'm going to die here and reset. But essentially, by jumping after you destroy 2 clone waves at a certain point, you can catch him, always catch him here. You want to keep punching him basically till he despawns, if that thing doesn't want to get me there. Sorry, I had the worst luck here. First, my controller dies. So I'm gonna jump over here quickly and get the first wave. Get the second wave, and there I can find him right here. There we go. So I found him again. There we go. So that's the Dr. Fetus done. So there's a way you can do it in 2 cycles, but it's a bit riskier, so I just tend to do it in 3. So there goes Dr. Fetus. And now we're on the other side where time has gone absolutely haywire. Meat Boy and Bandage Girl are now elderly, and we're getting into the nitty-gritty of the speedrun here. Introducing some of the toughest levels in the game, even light world-wise. So first thing you'll notice there is those blocks where if you stand on too long, they'll turn into spikes. These things over here, basically your suns that will suck you in, or black holes. And then you can change your orientation to blast out of them in a certain direction, and you can also get a mega punch from them. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. Over here, I'm just trying to. So it's very tough to remember, and again, this is a little bit luck dependent because some of the chunks can be very long and frustrating. But just a bit of consistency and knowledge of chunks, you should be able to get through it just fine. There's that crystal there to kind of bounce to the other end. And bounce here. I'm going to. So it becomes very puzzly near these late stages. It's just very, very difficult. So again, I'll be concentrating here. I'm just staying quiet a bit. So it kind of does a mega punch here like the orbs would. So if you punch at if you punch in the middle of your blast, you get a mega punch. So this one's a bit tough. You gotta time your jumps just right and then jump really high to get this one. Okay, got it. That wasn't too bad. So that is 5-1 done. Now we're down to 5-2. 5-2 here introduces these blocks here, but they go really quick. So you think, well, how can you avoid them? Well, these blue crystals here that you can punch slow down time. If you punch multiple, they... Okay, I messed that up entirely. Let's try that again. So I'm supposed to dive down here so it notices me. So you push these blue crystals to slow down time, and that's how you can kind of get around these ultra-fast blocks. So over here, I'm going to wait till it goes to 1, and then... do these last 3. And you notice here that it slows down your power time on the left, but not the speedrun time. So the time there can be kind of deceiving. So I'm going to quickly... Again, just putting my concentration face on for the moment. So the time will expire, the slowdown will expire when that orange ring kind of goes away. So, yeah, anyway, 5-3 here introduces this mechanic where you punch this block and it'll infinitely spawn until it hits a wall, like a wall of blocks. Now there is a chunk here we call it 5-3 skip, or I like to call it the God chunk, where you can exploit a blasting sun to skip a majority of the level. So, fingers crossed we get it. Last marathon run I did, but again, it's one chunk out of hundreds, so... off to see. No luck with it yet. So, again, just trying to concentrate as much as possible here because there. Oh, that was really close. I didn't need to backtrack there, but saved it. So I'm going to bounce back here really quickly. And one thing you'll see me as well with all these dives, if you dive, I guess, at a certain angles, you go quicker, so... Okay, so I'm supposed to do that one. So, when I see... When I see it fit, I'll be, diving. Again, won't remember, but this is even the hardest stage. The next one is definitely the most difficult out of all of them, but I'll explain that when I get to it. Now, these little random things are just so annoying. I was really close. There we go. Okay, that chunk is really difficult. Notoriously difficult, actually. Alright, now we're up to the last regular stage. And this one introduces this mechanic where essentially these blocks will appear and disappear depending on what button you press. So the purple blocks will appear when you duck and disappear, and the green ones will appear and disappear when you jump. So it's a lot to remember, and it can be pretty brain melting if you're doing it for the first time. So over here, I'm just trying to... So I was able to kind of exploit that just by triggering that at a certain time. Ah, 1 second. That one there, if you blast it the wrong time, it can actually get eaten, so... So I'm just trying to concentrate here. Ah, jeez, it's so... This chunk as well is pretty bad. Gotta kind of roof up on this one and just kind of go here. There we go. Now we're at the end. Now we're going to go into the boss called Omega Alpha that are 2 giant hands. Sounds pretty familiar to Super Smash Bros. Here. But essentially, it's a certain way you could do to beat them. You got to kind of traverse through this obstacle course. And you got to trap them in these little, I guess, prisons. Sorry, yeah, block prisons. But I'm going to skip the first one because it saves quite a bit of time by placing that block at a certain section. Now, there's another second block skip you can do, but it is a bit tricky, so I'm going to be doing the safe strat. Wow, okay. Don't usually die there, but anyway, it gives me time to explain. So essentially, this mechanic works by if you punch while this block is around you, around the other silhouettes of blocks, it will form like a block wall. So we do that to kind of trap the hands. So I'm going to trap it here to get some punches on it. So I've got a few punches on this one. I'm going to jump up here. Knock back this seismic wave, get this one over here. Just spam punch it, and then it will turn into a black hole. Turn it around, jump up the wall. I'm going to immediately jump off and then dive down. That's the quickest way to get this one. I'm going to... What? My controller blacked out again. Oh no, this has been cursed speedrun. My controller blacked out at that point. Oh dear. I might be going over estimate. I'm so sorry, guys. My controller was working fine up until the next point. And unfortunately, it just seems to be cutting out. Might be time for a new one. Anyway, now would be a time. Any more donations at all, friendly hosts?
Still quiet on that front.
It's alright. I do apologize. I'm probably going to go up, maybe just under estimate. I'm going to be just under 30 minutes. And
You got this.
Alright. Alright. Try it one more time. I might try it one more time. Well, I believe my face is now frozen on the webcam. Ah, dear. This end run, the game just does not like me tonight. I'm gonna do it the safe way next time. 1 second. Alright, so hopefully we can still get underneath 30 real time. But that point has just stuffed me up. I don't know why. Okay. Just my controller is missing inputs, so I'm gonna try to do it the safe way. Alright, that's better. Alright, so time's coming up really soon. It'll be on the very last hit of this hand when it starts exploding. But I'm gonna be very careful up in this to this point. So we'll jump on this wall. There we go. Alright, should be good now. And time. Oh. Oh boy. And I think my face is frozen as well. Am I seeing my OBS? It's all frozen. It's not in a very good position, so I turn that on and off. Will that work? No, it won't. Oh boy, well, that was the end of Super Meat Boy Forever. It's a really, really fun game. I'll just quickly go to the credits here and see how many deaths I had. And we'll just go back to the menu to see how many deaths I had. There we go. 36 deaths. We have, that's a 24 minutes 6 seconds. It's a bit different, but because that timer's different. But yeah, that was Super Meat Boy Forever, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I do apologize about the technical errors. Only now that I found my brother's spare controller. Next time I'll be sure to have a backup readily available. I hope you all enjoyed. If you want to learn a bit more about Super Meat Boy Forever and the speedruns we do, be sure to check out our speedrun.com website, because we got Discord, we got a bunch of awesome runners in there. We're gonna look to try and we've been doing bi-weekly races. We might be changing that really soon, but there's always someone in the community. It's a great little speed game, and there's so many ways you can kind of speedrun it. You got set seed, random seed, all light levels, all characters, 100%. And if you haven't actually played this game before, I would definitely recommend checking it out, because I think it's a very good sequel to the original. It changes things a bit, but it still keeps things fresh. So, yeah, it's Super Meat Boy Forever. And coming up next will be Peking Boo, my fellow Australian friend with Super Mario 64 on dance pads. He's an incredible speedrunner and fellow Aussie, so be sure to check him out. But that's all from me, so thank you so much, guys, and enjoy the rest of this.